Hello and welcome to the channel. It's time to rank the best and worst items in the Siegebreaker's Warbond, Helldiver 2's latest weapons and gear drop built around assault-style tactics with massive ordnance and CQC in mind. If you find the video helpful and want to support the channel, please consider hitting subscribe and ringing the notifications bell as we now dive headfirst into everything inside Siegebreakers. Alright, let's kick off this Siegebreakers tier list with the LAZ-16 Trident primary weapon, which has light armor pen. Now the stats for the Trident are 60 damage per laser times 6 lasers. Each shot produces 10 degrees of heat, and the weapon will overheat at 100 degrees, and it basically has minimal demo force, low stagger force, and low durable damage. However, base ergonomics are very high to begin with, starting at 60, meaning it's very easy to handle and shoot, but you can get that up to 68 at level 22 with the laser sight angled foregrip. And of course, the weapon has a massive spread between shots, which is what makes it so good and insane to use. Versus the automatons, the Trident tears through frontline chaff like any of the trooper variants. Berserkers go down quickly, as long as you can hit them in the stomach or the head, with precision not really being this weapon's strong suit, as it operates more as a spray and pray weapon, with infinite ammo, as long as you don't overheat it. Devastators can either take shots to the stomach or the head, and with the durable damage changes being reverted back to 0 on the Dev arms, the Trident can easily blow them off. Rocket Devastator arms and rocket pods are both unarmored, so they are easy targets, as is the head, with heavy devs being the only dev bot that will probably give you some problems here, as their unbreakable shield tends to block a lot of your shots, but once you get the right angle, you can just blast off their faces, and their gun is unarmored, so a couple of blasts from the Trident takes away their ability to pepper you with those crazy fusion repeaters they use and cause you so much flinch when they hit your diver. You can blast off the rocket pods on reinforced striders, which should kill them, but there's currently a bug and that mechanic's not working. Hulks can also be destroyed as long as you can hit them from the rear, targeting their vents, which are of course unarmored. But anything heavier than that, you'll need to switch to something heavier, like a support weapon, to effectively take on things like a shredder tank or factory strider. For the bugs, the Trident shines versus the chaff, like hunters and scavengers and even warriors can be dropped in just a couple of quick trigger pulls. Alpha commanders take a little longer, but you can still rip through them, as you can with hive guards, as long as you can get a good angle on their fleshy bits instead of the armor on their heads and front claws. Now, if you can get the jump on them, stalkers go down pretty quickly. And I was really surprised by how effective the Trident is versus Shriekers, because it can absolutely rip through a swarm of these things in no time flat. Also, technically, it can kill Chargers, as long as you can shoot them in the caboose, but with how durable those Charger body parts are and how bad the Trident is with durable damage, you're going to be shooting their cabooses from now until Sunday. And at that point, you might as well just stick them with Thermi or pull out a recoilless and end their suffering. Same goes for something like an Impaler face once it puts its tentacles into the ground, and I'd personally just stay away from pretty much anything larger than a Bile Spewer if you're using a Trident over on the bug planets. The Illuminate were much the same results. Voteless and Watchers are cannon fodder, and you can rip through mobs with ease. If you're not too far away from them, all the Overseers can be handled, and what really surprised me here was how sometimes it would actually tear up flesh mobs, but I wasn't able to do it consistently. Squid shields also fall pretty quickly, so you can swap to a grenade or secondary to kill the spawner ships, but after that, I wouldn't try it versus, say, a Harvester, although with enough shots to the eye, yeah, I guess you could pull it off. Overall, the Trident is easy to handle. It has no ammo issues as long as you don't overheat it. It has the versatility to be effective on all three factions, plus it's just fun to use. And with so many Warbonds in the past, I'd buy them, I'd unlock all the items, and never use those things again. But with the Trident, I tend to get the same feeling I did when we first got our hands on the Coyote, and that I want to use it, and I think that's important. Yeah, it does have some downsides like precision at range, and you have to work around the light armor pen, but it's not enough to affect my rating for the Trident. So it earns a solid A tier. Next are the Headfirst and Ram armor sets that feature the new Supplemental Adrenaline passive. Now this thing reads, when the wearer takes damage, they regain some stamina. It also says provides a higher armor rating. I couldn't get where the design team was going with this armor passive. I mean, it basically works like the Dead Sprint booster, giving you back stamina for damage taken based on some unknown percentage modifier. But let's say if you're charging into a bot base or the bug mega nest and take a bunch of damage, the very first thing any player is going to do is pop a stem, which of course gives you full stamina back. The only way I could see this thing working is if someone is dead set on, say, sprinting from one end of the map to the other, just like non-stop, which I'll admit is a super niche playstyle. But it does work if you pair this armor with the Dead Sprint booster. But why? Since it's included with a Warbond with tons of heavy explosive devices, I feel like this armor set would have been much better paired with the Fortified talent, maybe to include some extra ragdoll resistance. I honestly don't know, but even the extra padding it adds on is cut in half from the regular amount, so you're not as resilient as a standard extra padding set. Don't get me wrong, I love the drip here, especially the heavy ram set, but this armor passive is definitely a mishmash of a lot of things that just don't work, which is why I'm placing it in poop tier. This thing needs a total passive rework. The CQC-20 Breaching Hammer is our first anti-tank melee stratagem weapon that can be used in either explosive or standard melee form, with the base weapon coming with 7 charges, each doing 300 melee damage plus 2,100 damage from the explosion. Now, for the bots, I guess you could technically use the hammer versus troopers, but I think that would be seriously overkill. However, in charged mode with the explosive tip, it can liquefy all the Devastators and Berserkers, even one-tapping a Hulk from most angles. War Striders can also be one-shotted if you hit them in the thigh or the crotch areas, and it takes out bot fabricators in just one charged shot, which I think is pretty peak. Mortars and tanks can be smashed when going for the vents or the rear, less armored parts, and Factory Striders take 3 charged hammer shots to the leg to kill them. Taking this thing onto the bug fronts again feels quite overkill, if that's actually a thing, because the hammer feels more tailored for the armor and mob concentrations found on the bot front. However, if you do go bug smashing with it, everything up to and including Alpha Commanders is liquefied into jelly in one swipe. Behemoth Chargers take 2 to the face due to breakpoint reasons, but you can one-shot even Behemoths if you attack from the side and hit them between the legs, and if you can hit their caboose, it's just all over. Impalers take 2 to the face, and Bile Titans take somewhere between 6 to 7 shots to the legs to down them, or if you go full hover pack, you can 2-tap them to the face. It cannot close bug holes, but it will destroy something like a Shrieker Nest in 2 shots. Illuminate Overseers can be one-shotted, but you will need to dive at them with their god-tier batons or just face getting swatted into next week. Outside of there, you can destroy squid spawn ships in one hit as long as you drop the shields prior. And surprise to me, it can one-tap flesh mobs. But again, get a good running start and dive swing the charged hammer for one-shot kills to avoid getting pounded into silly putty. When a weapon shows up like the hammer that opens up a new and destructive playstyle built solely on melee, that's worth at least a few bonus points in its overall rating. And while you can bring the hammer to the bug and squid missions, and it is effective there, it really feels tailored for the bots. This thing is S tier all day long, not only for the killing power, but also for just how damn fun it is to use. However, if I could make a suggestion to the devs, it would be to give it something like 20 charges to begin with, like the railgun, and it also needs more demo force, at least enough to break through walls, man. I mean, it says it's a breaching hammer. Let's get that demo force up so that we can live that city wall busting fantasy with more charges to not limit your loadouts. We don't really have any stats to go on yet for the EAT 411 leveler, other than it has a demo force of 40, and with all ship upgrades applied, assuming you don't have any negative planetary modifiers, you can call one of these launchers down about every minute and 40 seconds or so. Now, the best way I would say to describe the Leveler is it's like a mix between the Solo Silo and the Ultimatum, but it's fired from an EAT launcher tube without the need for the laser pointer, and you also don't get ragdolled by the launch like you would when standing too close to the Solo Silo pod. With the Leveler, it's not a matter of killing a heavy target in one shot. It's more a matter of how many collateral kills can you rack up also in that same blast. Automaton dropships are cracked wide open in one shot, and you can drop factory striders as well. And of course, you can get some impressive kill counts on tightly grouped up war striders or hulks. Like the Hammer, the Leveler feels more tailored to the bots because of their concentrations of elites, especially on difficulty 10, often seeing multiple factory striders hitting the ground all at once. I also tried it out on the Terminid and Illuminate planets, but to be honest, you would probably get more versatility and use out of a recoilless versus the Leveler on these planets. There's just not a lot for it to really shine against. Know what I'm saying? Outside of, say, destroying Bile Titan holes, but the blast radius on the explosions is something you'll need to get used to, because even now I feel like I'm plenty far away from the explosions and I still get ragdolled like crazy. Massive explosions with relatively low cooldowns in between is never a bad thing, but I feel that the Leveler, again, is more of a faction-specific weapon. Outside of versus the bots, there's just not much you really need it for on the other two fronts, and while it's still going to blow stuff up with massive aggression, there's other options that I feel will blow things up just as well, but give you more uses and versatility. This is an A- to B+ tier weapon. I don't know, I go back and forth on the score with the A- for when you use it versus the bots, and the B+ for when you use it against the bugs and squid. The GL-28 belt-fed grenade launcher is the maxi gun of grenade launchers, requiring the user to not only use the weapon, but to equip the ammo backpack as well. And by the way, in this previous patch, all the grenade launcher variants were raised from AP3, or medium armor pen, up to heavy armor pen at AP4, making them all instantly more viable versus more heavily armored targets, which I would rate as an S tier change all by itself. Now, to finish it up on the belt fed, I want to mention it also features 3 rate of fire modes that you can toggle between. It has 100 rounds in the backpack, and it also has full auto fire. I found the belt fed best against the bots because of their armor characteristics, but it also performed, I guess, okay versus the bugs, at least up to chargers, where it could kill them, but it wasn't the fastest. Most of the time, the belt fed just felt underwhelming, especially when compared to the standard grenade launcher for both just sheer outright damage per shot as well as explosive AoE. Just to give you an example here, a regular grenade launcher can kill a Devastator in 2 shots. The belt fed does that same job in 5. It is convenient having the ability to hold down the trigger and go full auto with grenade rounds, but the trade-off is using a lot more rounds per target just to get the job done. That said, you can spam it into Devastator mobs and eventually get the job done. And now with AP4, it has the ability to one-shot a Hulk to the faceplate, if you can hit it. But those are all things you can do with a standard grenade launcher. And alongside equipping a supply pack, you can then kill things faster, do more damage, have more overall ammo, along with stems and grenades at your disposal, making the belt fed a seriously lesser version of what we already have. I do think with some tweaks to base damage and the explosive AoE, the belt fed could be a solid pick. Also, I think this could have been a great time for Arrowhead to try something new out on the belt fed to give it more versatility, say like an ammo toggle between HE and arc rounds, 50 of one, 50 of the other, but you know, the way it currently sits, the belt fed is a C tier to D tier pick depending on faction. That leaves just the GSH-39 throwable shield, aka the Halo Bubble Shield, which can be tossed on the ground and immediately deployed versus waiting for a stratagem call-in, giving a solo diver, or if they're closely packed together, a couple of divers, a little bit of cover from incoming fire. Again, like some of the other pieces here in Siege Breakers, I feel this is tailored for taking on the bots, where it does a good job of briefly protecting you from not only incoming small arms fire, but it also keeps you up and on your feet and not getting ragdolled so damn much, which is peak. Now, eventually it does break down, but I've stood in it taking on patrols of heavy devs. It will protect you from the Illuminate Stingray strafing runs, and I've even used it to protect my turrets or a Hell Bomb as long as you throw the shield down on top of the strat call-in area before it arrives down from orbit. By the way, that's a little tip there for you. And while, yes, it's not as strong as the shield generator relay, you can pull off some real Houdini moments with this thing, like when getting chased and shot from behind. You could just toss one of these down to block the incoming shots to give you time to regroup. We've thrown out multiples of the shield in front of our tank to give us some time to kind of thin out huge packs of automatons that were pushing our position, and I've even tossed one down to protect me while using a terminal that was getting peppered by enemy fire. Now, it struggles versus hard-charging melee-focused enemies like basically all the bugs and the Illuminate like the Voteless or those baton-swinging Overseers because it's designed to block incoming rounds only. Or when I was completely engulfed by bot heavies and I stood there in my shield bubble, fired the leveler at point-blank range in their general direction, leaving nothing left but a crater, costing me only a stem to bring me back to full health. The versatility and multiple back-to-back uses of the Halo shield can really allow you to pull off some crazy, I should have never survived that advances or flanks. And while yes, it's not as powerful as its bigger brother, the shield relay, it is strong enough to keep you up and on your feet and in the fight instead of running for cover. And for all of that, it earns an S tier in my ranking. So there's the final rankings of everything you can find in the Siege Breakers Warbond. And I'd also like to throw in this, that in terms of just sheer fun factor, this entire Warbond is somewhere in my top 5 of all time, maybe top 3. It really opens up alternate playstyles like full melee, and many of the weapons are strong, not to mention the versatility much of the gear offers the player. I mean, it's just hella fun to set off huge explosions inside of this game. And yes, I know I can be critical of Arrowhead. I've been that way of them in the past because we've seen them make a bunch of boneheaded decisions, but at least for the Siege Breakers Warbond, they cooked. But there you go, and I hope you enjoyed my first ever Warbond tier list. Drop any feedback you have in the comment section, and of course I'll do my best to respond. Remember to hit subscribe and to ring the notifications bell to receive my future upload alerts. Thank you so much to all of my hardcore channel members, for without your support, content like this would not be possible. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.